doesn't matter if you prefer PvP or PvE. It doesn't matter if your favorite alliance is the Daggerfall Covenant. It doesn't matter if the Breton or the High Elf or Nords or whatever is your favorite race, because at the end of the day, it's nighttime. What's going on, YouTube? It's Friday, which means we're inside the Hollow City, inside of Cold Harbor, to go over our first of 2 weekend vendors. Now, the nice thing about Zanil here, you can find him right over here inside the Hollow City, is that he sells rotational furnishing items that are tradable, meaning that if you wanted to sell this Falmer hut to your friend for 100,000 gold, you could. Now, are you going to make 100,000 gold with Falmer items? Probably not. Unfortunately, the Reach is not necessarily known for its rich architecture, and it looks a little bit flimsy. I definitely don't think that you're going to be able to sell a lot of these. Now, if this was a house, on the beaches of California, easily $1.2 million. But here, to sell them to other ESO players, as much as this lean-to looks cool, probably not going to be a crazy amount of money. I will say, though, some of these items generally probably will do well. For example, this fence here for 200 is probably going to easily be able to be sold for at least 1,000 to 2,000. That might seem like a small number, but it could stack up if you bought a bunch of them, just because cheap fences seem to do well. But a lot of these huts and things don't really do super well, unfortunately, just because they don't really jive with people's, aesthetics for their homes. Even with the housing contests around the corner, nobody's putting this wolf pelt in their house. But a special shout out, though, to this boar. I do think people will likely buy this boar. So to me, the boar, as well as the Falmer fence, those are probably the 2 key items that I would say are probably resellable. But generally, these ones don't do super well. Also, please hit the like and subscribe button. Now, also, I'm going to give you a hint for watching this portion of the video, not skipping over it. So every video in the month of June is going to have a hidden code in it. And I'm going to tell you now, it's always going to be in either the bottom left or the right corner, and it will always be in the first 30 seconds of the video. That way, it rewards people who don't just watch the video on like 50 times speed and, just comb through the entire video. That way, it's the people who click on with notifications on. But now we're inside the Golden Vendor. We're inside our Cyrodiil campaign. If you have any additional questions, where do I find these bad boys, Jake? You can always check out ESO Helper, our video guide, or the website guide rather, that'll break down kind of how you can understand these videos a little bit more. But we'll talk here about the rotational items inside the Golden Vendor and if any of these are actually good, because we start off with golden rings. I mean, are these golden rings good? Find out. And we start off with automatons, which comes from Darkshade Caverns 1 or 2, and it adds 400 weapon and spell damage to your physical and bleed damage abilities. Now, a lot of people are thinking to themselves, Jake, 400 weapon and spell damage, that's not too shabby. Well, 2025, 400 weapon and spell damage ain't nothing to write home about. You're not going to be planning to really show that off to any of your friends, and it's limited to physical and bleed damage. So a lot of people are like, oh, what if I want to be a werewolf? There's infinitely better werewolf builds that could give you more weapon and spell damage. If you're just a stam character and you're using like poisons, use stuff like Swamp Raider. Like, this is a set that unfortunately, it's fine. It's above average. It's 6 out of 10, but there are so many sets that give you more weapon and spell damage, especially because this is a stam-based kind of PvE character thing. You could certainly use this for PvE. The problem is that weapon and spell damage is not as necessary for PvE, so you're really not going to, and 400 is not a lot anyway, so you would have to use it for PvP. You probably would use it for like a PvP werewolf, but even then, better sets, 6 out of 10, above average. Next up is the Defiler set, which when I read it, I realized was not the Scavenging Demise set. This is from Vardenfell, and when you deal critical damage, you summon a hunger that spews poisons to all enemies in front of you, dealing 34 poison damage and stunning any enemy hit for 5 seconds. This effect can occur once every 5 seconds. This is a set that's kind of weird because it's doing kind of decent amounts of chunk damage to all enemies in front of you, which is more of a PvE thing, but rarely is stunning super helpful for PvE in the same sense. And the damage isn't great compared to like more staple-esque sets, even the old ones like Pillar of Nirn. This one doesn't compete, but this one's also a base game overland set. I believe Vardenfell is now part of the base game, so this is significantly easier to get. So if you wanted to use a set like this just to get into more difficult PvE content, perfectly fine. But for PvP, yeah, the stun's nice, but relatively easy to dodge. And it's not dealing enough damage to be really super helpful. So overall, it's a fine set. I give this more of like a 6.5, a little bit better. Next up is a set that used to go crazy. This one comes from Cradle of Shadows. When your alchemical poison fires, you drop a poisonous spore in front of you that bursts after 1 second, dealing 1152 or 11,052 poison damage over 10 seconds to all enemies within 5 meters. So you got big old range, big damage. The problem is that 10 seconds is a long time. This used to be, I believe, 5 seconds. Somebody can correct me if I'm wrong. So it's just seen such a drop off because let's be realistic here. If you're using this for PvP, I could just cleanse it. And if you're using it for PvE, you need to do more damage than essentially what, 1,000 damage a second, or maybe 1,100 damage a second. Let's be fair. It's just not good enough. But if you were doing 11,000 damage every 5 seconds, now we'd be talking a little bit more, you know, but unfortunately, we ain't talking about that. So unfortunately, that's why a set like this is a 6. It's above average. It's better than a slap in the face, but you're just slightly better off than putting on a random 5-piece set from a random base game zone. And here is an overland set. This one comes from the Rift, so probably not a place you want to farm with your headset on. 400 weapon and spell damage to your frost abilities. Here's the bit of a problem with a set like this is you have sets like War Maiden, which give you 600 weapon and spell damage to your magicka ability. So why would you use something like this? And it's just power creep, realistically. 400 weapon and spell damage is perfectly serviceable. The problem is why limit yourself to 400 weapon and spell damage where you can go out there and get more? That's the bit of a problem when you've got newer sets that are just better. And Vardenfell is an overland set, so it's not like I'm like, oh, this trial set versus this set right here. It's just a base game set. So unfortunately, sets like this really don't see any utilization. This is a 5.0. You'd be better off sometimes just rolling the dice and getting a random. Yeah, we'll give it a 5.5. It's slightly better than random because it's at least got some cohesive, you know, lines to it. But overall, it's just not doing it for me. Next up is Baron Zodris, which notably the mask of this looks really dope and a lot of people are seeking it. But unfortunately, the shoulder, not as much, a bit wimpy on there. Let's be realistic comparatively. So it's one piece, by the way, one of the best one pieces in the game, in my opinion, for max stat builds. I think max stat builds are going to see a huge uptick when it comes to update 46. I would say upcoming because I play on console. I don't have update 46 yet. So max stat builds, if you like Sorks, Wardens, they're going to be probably the best recipients of those max stack builds. Maybe Templars, max bubble builds, that might become popular again. But I would say if you like Wardens, you like Sorcerers, a set like this as a one piece is perfect for you because it gives you stam, mag, and health. But then as a 2-piece, applying a status effect to an enemy grants you a stack of Zodris Ambition for 10 seconds, up to 3 stacks max. When you gain 3 stacks, the stacks are removed and you gain 4 ultimate. So elemental susceptibility, you could just spam that and get tons of ultimate, which is a relatively popular thing to do. So ultimate's really good. You can stack that with minor heroism and major heroism. I think this is a very meta dependent set. PvE obviously loves ulting, but I think PvP is where ulting a lot faster is more beneficial. Plus you can use a little more scribing skills to tweak things to give you more minor and major heroism and things. You might build into that more for PvP. I think this is like a 9 out of 10 PvP set. Maybe that's a hot take because it's so niche, but its one piece is fantastic. And its 2-piece is easily abusable to get ridiculous amounts of ultimate. And we live in a day and age in update 46 where you can have any class's ultimate. You want to spam negate bubbles? Spam negate bubbles. You want to spam corrosive armor? Spam corrosive armor. You want to spam winter storm warnings? You could spam the biggest winter storms of your entire life. You'll be able to do all that more. So that's where I think this set is definitely on the uptick. Normally I would give it like an 8.5, but I'm going out on a limb. I'm giving this a 9, but tell me if I'm wrong below. But I think just spam elemental susceptibility and it's just profit. Now it's from the Cauldron, just in case I forgot because I recorded these live. This next one is from Coral Eerie. Its one piece is max stam and max magicka. Now you might be thinking to yourself, Jake, isn't that good? No, you can literally get more of these stats on a one piece. As a 2-piece, on dealing damage with a heavy attack, you create a 6-meter whirlwind that slowly moves forward for 8 seconds, growing by 3 meters every 3 seconds. Enemies hit, take some shock damage, some physical damage. While group members reduce their magicka and stamina cost by 10%, this effect can occur once every 20 seconds. This is all over the place what it's trying to do. So let's talk about why this set is cattywampus to begin with. So Coral Eyrie is already a difficult dungeon. So notably, some people might be thinking to themselves, Jake, it says heavy attack. That means solo builds, right? Well, the problem with using this on a solo build is that if you're using 2 5-piece sets, are you not going to run a 1-piece mythic for your heavy attack build? We've got brand new mythics coming out that are ridiculously good for heavy attacking. We've got the Oak and Soul Ring, which, love it or hate it, is ridiculously good for light and heavy attack builds. Why wouldn't you use those? You got a 20-second uptime. Reducing the cost to your allies is neat in practice, but in reality, it's not that helpful. I mean, a set like this is perfectly serviceable, but it's just not great. I mean, I guess it's good if somebody was using this on a solo build, they didn't have mythics, for example. Let's say they didn't have mythics unlocked. They only had, certain dungeons purchased. They bought this, they slapped this on with 2 other, 5-piece, heavy light attack sets. Fine. This is a 7 out of 10. At its most, you're eking out a 7 out of 10. And that is if you are crunching this thing with the best of the best other solo sets with it, you're cranking out a 7 out of 10. I have to give it more than a 6. It's better than above average. It's good at its very maximal, excuse me. So it's not great. It's not fantastic. It's not a staple. There's significantly better sets than it. I hope this helps break down why certain sets you see keywords like light and heavy attack and you're like, oh, this must be good for solo builds. Well, important conversations do occur there. Even sets like Baron's Address, that we just talked about, it's good, but you really have to build very specifically. If you're not spamming, getting status effects, you're not going to want to use this set. So the best utilization of this set could get a 9 out of 10, but if you just slap this on all wimbly bimbly, you're not going to get that. Obviously, if you use the 1 piece on a Mag Sork or a Mag Warden, yes, you could still get 9 out of 10 value, but you have to build around it to get that max value. 7 out of 10 is the maximum I can do. And I hope that makes sense for this, because this is we got a lot of weird sets here. I was hoping we get a few more bangers. I recorded these live, so I don't know if we're banging or booming or what's going on, but hopefully people still come around because they want the free codes. That's what we're doing for the entire month of June. So TLDR, get yourself a fence or get yourself some other furnishing items if you're interested. Get yourself a little rug. Any of the sets here at Baron's Address, if you think you're going to be interested in a max Warden or max Mag, or you really find yourself thinking you're going to build a big status effect set build, definitely go for it. I think you can get tons of ultimate, and with subclassing, you could pick any ultimate that you want in the game. So that's just free value. But the rest of the sets, easy skips. And the nice thing too is if you do get Baron's Address, you could use Undaunted, or you save Undaunted keys. You just use Alliance points or gold, whichever you have more of. And a lot of people have a bunch of either of those 2 things. People have at least one or the other. So that will be my recommendations for you. Thank you guys so much again for watching. As always, we're doing our 3 giveaway drawings. All you need to do to enter is leave a comment and a like on the video. Please, it helps out a lot. Second thing is just look for a hidden word to be flashed upon the screen. We're doing 1 hidden word for every single video for the month of June. Every single video. We're going crazy. And it gives you the premium content pass, which means you get all the previous chapters and the newest chapter. So we're going buck wild. So if you turn on notifications, you got great odds because they're going to be near the beginning of the video. And the third thing is just be subscribed. Pretty please. It just helps out a lot. So thank you guys one last time. Have a fantastic weekend. We got a lot of videos cooking in the slow cooker, and I'll catch you guys later. Bye, guys.
You better remember to like and subscribe to Jakeclips. Or you should. I might have to pluck your eyes if you don't. Or, better yet, I'll skip rope with your entrails. Do it now. Subscribe. Ta-ta. Off with you.